everyone! So this video is going to be a little bit different, but basically for April and part of May, I've been taking a video of really pretty spring flowers that I've seen around Chicago. So none of these have anything to do with me. I am not responsible for them, but there are a few places that we try to go every spring because I know they're going to look really pretty. And then other clips are just things that I've kind of seen around town. So I think this is the order that you'll see the clips, but I'll add in chapter notes so you know which location we're in, but I'll set all of the pretty flower video to music. But first is Lakeshore East, which is a little neighborhood in Chicago just north and a little bit east of Millennium Park. So right close to downtown, you can walk across the street and you're in Millennium Park. But basically you can drive into the neighborhood. It's like one rectangle, and in the middle of the rectangle is a park, and they have a ton of tulips there. We actually went here twice because the first time we went, not all of the tulips were open. So I was like, well, we have to come back when they're all open. So we did. So there's gonna be some like before and after, but I think it's just a span of either 2 or 3 weeks. Luckily we had a cool long spring, which not necessarily great for getting my plants out, but great for the tulip flowers hanging on. It is also really pretty year round. I know that they have hydrangeas there. I think in fall they plant up a bunch of mums. So I'd recommend going anytime of the year, but definitely during spring. The second location is the Drake Hotel / Tower. So there's a hotel that's connected to the tower where there's apartments, and I think it's technically the Drake Tower side, but this is really cool. So every spring, it's like they block off different sections of the building and do completely different plantings. So like one was a bunch of pinks and reds, one was all blue hydrangeas, one was a lot of white flowers, and I think another one was purple and orange, and the front has a huge display as well. So I basically just walked down the sidewalk and took a bunch of videos and photos of all of the pretty flowers. So this one is also downtown too. So if you're going downtown for Lakeshore East, now I think the spring show is probably over by now, but for next year, if you're going down for Lakeshore East, might as well stop by the Drake Tower. The third place, also downtown, is Lurie Garden in Millennium Park. I think this garden was created like early 2000s. And it's just really beautiful to be inside of nature in the middle of downtown in a city. So I definitely recommend going there. Each season too, obviously there's going to be a different variety of flowers. A lot of the plants are native as well. So this one, we've gone in spring. I do plan to go in summer and fall. We did fall last year, and it's a really pretty layered color of like the yellows, reds, and the greens. But spring obviously is when the flowers are starting to bloom, and there was a lot of whites and purples there, and it was just really pretty. So definitely recommend checking that out. And then I think the last, I don't think there's anywhere else specific that we went that I'm including here, but the last one is then just different videos that I've seen walking by. I go for walks almost every day when it's warm enough outside for me to not freeze, and kind of starting in spring, my husband knows if we're on a walk, I'm going to stop and take pictures. One, because I like pretty things that I see, but two, they also work really well for inspiration. So when I walk around, it's mostly the parkways, which is what I call between the sidewalk and the street is the parkway. And people do some really beautiful things here. I don't know if you know this, but the motto for the city of Chicago is actually Urbs in Horto, which is, I think, city in a garden in Latin. And there's just some really beautiful plantings around Chicago. So that's what I've included in this video. It's definitely not at all comprehensive of all of the flowers here. There are other places that you want to get recommended to check out. I mean, the Garfield Park Conservatory, Lincoln Park Conservatory, the Alfred Caldwell Lily Pond, Humboldt Park, North Pond. There's a bunch of beautiful things to see. So one, if you have any need for a recommendation, let me know down below. And two, if you are in Chicago and have any other places that you go specifically during spring or maybe any other time to see some pretty flowers, also let me know so I can make sure to hit them up. I feel like it's always a very tight window, and we didn't even make it to the Chicago Botanic Garden for the tulips. Like once I see that they're coming up, I know that I have to start making my rounds. So anyway, with all that rambling, I hope you now enjoy all the pretty flowers.